How do you eat for optimal confidence? What? What does your food have to do with your confidence level? Well, that's a question from someone who's in one of my group programs. And I started doing Ask Me Tuesdays, where I'm going to be answering questions from viewers, email fans, as well as people that are in my group programs and come to my events and that sort of thing. Because I get a lot of questions, and this is one way to answer them. And one question, someone recently asked me, like, what do you do for nutrition? What should I eat as part of growing? And, people in my world grow in all ways, in confidence, but also in their careers, in their social lives, in their relationships, and in their health as well. So I'm going to answer that question briefly here. I'm not going to go super in depth. It's something I've been obsessed with for many years because I struggled a lot with my health, which you may know about if you listen to my podcast. But I had an autoimmune condition for many years, or so I thought. And I took an immunosuppressant medication for over 15 years. I couldn't be very active at all. And in that journey, learned about nutrition, learned about how to take care of myself, learned about the mind-body connection for pain, which is actually more the emotional connection, underlying emotions that lead to pain, like stress and resentment and being too nice, all that stuff. But part of it was how I ate. And now I'm pain-free, and I'm the most active I've ever been in my life. I started to run a couple years back and have just progressively run more and more, and did 10Ks, then half marathon, then a marathon, and now I'm training for a 31-mile race through the woods, which should be really fun. And along the way, getting stronger too, lifting weights, being a lot more in my body physically. And part of the way that I do that is through optimal nutrition. And there is a direct connection between confidence and how you eat because, first of all, in so many ways. One, if you look better, you naturally have more confidence. So if you're more fit, more active, you just feel like you look better. You get, that kind of, that boost, that significance boost of looking good, right? And you know what I'm talking about, right? Can you think back to a time in your life where you were like looking good and you're like, yeah, you just naturally felt more confident. So use that, I say. But then secondly, what you eat directly affects your energy level for that day. And what you tend to eat over the weeks and months that's your general energy. That's what you're used to. And confidence and energy, there's a direct link there. At all my live events, we do a lot to keep people's energy not only high, but help them realize they have control over that energy. And people end up doing things that they weren't able to do before coming there, partly because of that environment, that energy that we create, or help them learn how to activate. And so the way we eat can make us feel a lot more sluggish and tired. And then it's like, do you want to go approach those people? And you're like, ugh. Do you want to face something that scares you? Ugh. Or just like, do you want to, get shit done at work and feel productive and proud of what you did? No, I don't have the energy for it. So we need energy, and what we eat determines that more than anything else. And so I'll give a few key tips on this. You don't have to do exactly what I do. This is just what I found works most for me. One is to eliminate everything processed, ideally everything. I know that sounds extreme. So wherever you're at, reduce it by 25%. When I say processed foods, when I first learned about that, eat whole foods, I was like, oh yeah, I do, because the packaged food I buy says whole grain on it. That's bullshit. That's not whole foods. That's a processed food. If it comes in a package, unless it's like a bag of oranges that there's a plastic bag around it. If it comes in a package, if it's not in like the outer ring of your supermarket, like produce aisle and other stuff, then it's processed. If it can live on a shelf, it's processed. So eliminate everything processed if you can. And if that's extreme, start with 25%. Because you don't have to be perfect with this stuff. It's just the more you do, in my experience, the more you get addicted to it. The more you're like, well, this feels really good. I want to do more of this. So start by reducing 25%. What is processed? That means all processed grain products, breads, bagels, pastries, all that stuff. Any sort of processed bars, beef jerky, anything that's chips, any of that stuff. Just reduce it by 25%. And here's the thing. What do you replace it with? Fruit. Real food. Fruit's an easy one to start with because it tastes good, right? And it's great for you. And if you're worried about fruit and like, oh, I shouldn't eat fruit because it has sugar in it, that's total BS, because the sugar in fruit is bound up in fiber and surrounded by tons of phytochemicals and healthy nutrients and everything, so your body doesn't react to it like you're eating a spoonful of table sugar or something. Totally different, really good for your body, actually protects your blood sugar from spikes. And if you're wondering about where to start learning about all this stuff, there's two authors I highly recommend. One is Dr. Joel Fuhrman, Fuhrman. He advocates what's called a nutritarian diet, which means eat the most nutrient-dense foods that you can, which happen to be whole foods, plant-based things. And then there's also a guy named Dr. Greger, who has a book called How Not to Die, which is phenomenal. You should check it out. It's a long one, but those together will give you, they'll give you the programming. Let's switch arms here. Arms burning, getting tired. The programming of it, I need to eat certain foods in order to be okay, but most of that food that we think we need to eat, we've been taught that we need to eat, like dairy. You don't need the calcium from dairy. You don't need whatever else you think you need from dairy. You can get way more from other sources. I used to think I needed to eat meat to get protein because I want to work out. I want to get strong. Actually, you can get all the protein you need from plants. And if you want to supplement, you can supplement with a hemp protein powder that doesn't have natural flavors and all this other stuff in it that's super processed. And yeah, so that's another thing. If you're worried about like being, can I switch back? It feels awkward to hold it with the left hand. That's what she said. Oh, I'm good. Still got it. In any case, the protein issue in meat, I mean, there's so many rabbit holes I could go down. I'm trying to keep this focused, but read those books to challenge that. But I've been able to, let's see here, I'm at about, I just checked in recently, about 11% body fat right now. So lean and strong and just able to use my body and look how I want to look on a whole foods plant-based diet. The problem with most people with the vegan diet is they don't eat whole foods. They're eating a lot of processed stuff, which isn't that good for you. But so I would, if you want the optimal diet, the optimal energy to like high sustained energy all day long, to where I'm running about 50 miles a week right now, go to the gym 4 days a week, and don't drink any caffeine, and have energy to just do a ton of work and play with my kids and everything. It comes from this food. It's optimal fuel. So what do I eat a lot of? I eat a lot of beans. A lot of beans. And if you're like, oh no, beans, I was that way too. Your body gets used to them. If you're wondering about the gas situation, body gets used to it. Eat a lot of beans. You can start with a small amount, like a quarter cup. Eat that once a day. Let your body get used to it. Then a half cup a day. But ideally, I eat 2 cups of beans or more a day. Eat a lot of fruit, vegetables. I have a big smoothie every morning that's got fruit and a lot of vegetables, a lot of greens in it, including kale and chard and spinach and broccoli. And here's the thing, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh God, this sounds terrible, your palate, your taste buds, everything resets usually within about 3 weeks. So if it's like gonna be gross or not, then make it taste good where you're at and then slowly work your way out of things. And if you want to go further, I eliminated all natural flavors because everything processed has natural flavors in it. But natural flavors are just chemicals that they derive the chemical compound from an originally natural source, like a banana. And then they can do whatever they want to the banana to get banana flavor. And I'm not saying these are horrible for you or something. It's just they mess with your taste buds. So then when you eat a real banana, you're like, this banana's okay, but you know what's better? Banana flavor. And then you just want to eat that, right? Now, I used to eat a lot of stevia, and then I eliminated stevia, and all of a sudden, like a blueberry or an apple tastes amazing. So if you want to make this stuff taste good, just slowly work off all that stuff. And then, if you eat this way, if you eat the nutritarian diet that Dr. Fuhrman calls it, so that is vegetables, fruits, beans, nuts, seeds, mushrooms and onions for cooking and stuff like that, and then grains, sweet potatoes as well, and then grains. That's whole grains that you cook yourself, like quinoa, brown rice, millet, amaranth. If you eat this way, you will get leaner, you will get stronger, you'll have more energy, and as a result, you're going to look better, feel better about yourself, and have more confidence because you're going to feel more energy. Just imagine, like, you're in a work meeting and you just ate like a hot dog or whatever. Maybe you're not eating that, but you know, you just ate like a big chunk of a big whack of heavy food, the burger and fries, and you're like, oh God. I mean, it felt good to eat it though, right? It felt nourishing. Usually people eat it because they're working with emotion. They feel anxious, and it's a way to ground yourself. But you eat that, and then you're in the meeting, and you're like, oh God, I can't stay awake. Like, are you really going to be able to face your fear, speak up, handle a difficult conversation? Probably not, or not to the same degree as if you're feeling, you know, more just light, energized, naturally fueled. So I can go on and on about the connection between health and confidence, but hopefully this gives you a sense of some resources to look at, where to start. And I know people have all kinds of crazy theories when it comes to nutrition. So my thing is, you know, study. When you study, you can read many different experts telling you many different things. So my thing is always put it through the common sense corner. Does this make sense? You know, this diet's telling me to eat more fruits and vegetables. That seems to generally make sense. Those seem like alive foods. The diet's telling me to eat like huge amounts of meat. It's like, carnivore diet. Okay, maybe. And some people say it cured them of everything. But I'm just like, okay, just intuitively, this field, you know, these bright fruits and vegetables feel more alive than this stuff. So put it through your common sense corner, and then most importantly, test it. Be willing to test it. And here's the thing: if you're testing, getting off, we're addicted to a lot of these the chemical foods, the sugars in our foods, cheese and dairy. It's super addicting. And then a lot of the meat, like it's like we need it, we crave it, and we feel bad without it. And so we're like, oh, I must need it. I must need the protein. That's actually not true. We're just we're not used to. There's a change that we need to go through in our bodies, and also we're not used to dealing with our emotions without constantly inputting these rich foods to kind of numb out our feelings. So it's a long journey. Maybe one day there'll be a course inside of Confidence University on it. But this is what you get for today. Just my thoughts and opinions. Test it out for yourself. See what works for you. Share in the comments what's working for you. Maybe you're like on a carnivore diet and the most confident, testosterone oozing man alive. I don't know. But I'm not attached to you doing what I do. Just want to share what's really working for me and what I'm super excited about. All right. Be well. I love you. You're awesome. Talk to you soon.